So corrected your question. So basically, the 3 points he said is ആദ്യം നമ്മൾ കുറെ data ഉണ്ട്. So the data is given to the computer program or the algorithm. And the algorithm using this data will learn to kind of execute a set of tasks. So sir, what about that is correct. As of now, I don't know about the future, but currently there is no sentience to artificial intelligence. So I just want to give an idea of how it works. Okay, let's assume, okay, no need to assume. We are all in this room right now. So we all know that this is some sort of conference room. It's not a kitchen, it's not a bathroom, it's not a bedroom, it's a conference room. So how can we say with such confidence that this is a conference room? Can anyone tell me? Like, okay, structure is one thing, correct? Where furniture could be another thing. Like now the kitchen, they won't be a chair and a table like this. Wherein it can be, let's say, there's a projector also. So all these things are the key properties that is only found in a conference room. It won't be found in any other room. So these things are called features. So basically what these algorithms or the models does is, our data it will go through a lot of data and then understand features about that data to kind of come to a conclusion. For example, look at this wave. It can be any sort of wave. It can be an EEG wave, it can be a random sound wave, or it can be some mathematical sine wave or anything. But especially I think a lot of you are from the medical field, you know that this is an ECG signal. And how do you know that? Because these signals have a particular set of features. For example, it has a high rise, a slight rise in P, a sudden dip in Q, a high rise in R, and in S. So it has that PQRS pattern, which kind of lets us know that, okay, this is an ECG signal. So similarly, what this algorithm or the model does is it just learns that particular set of features. Okay. But unlike a human being, it kind of memorizes the features. So you can say that, okay, fine, this a human can do. So why exactly do we need an artificial intelligence? How can it help doctors? So if the features get more complicated, for example, if you take the first picture, it is actually the scan of detecting breast cancer. So you can see in the picture on the leftmost, there is a small red dot, the red square. It is kind of invisible to a naked eye. So a human doctor, they would tend to miss that. However, this has been caught in using artificial intelligence algorithms. So the breast cancer can be detected at an earlier stage, and hence the survival rate of that patient would obviously be much higher. And another very recent example is that in using pictures, using just X-ray scans, they can detect if a patient has COVID or not. For example, if I just look at that scans from the naked eye, for me it just looks like, it is like properly working lungs and everything. But due to the algorithm, they can actually understand the minute details, the minute patterns, and hence they can figure it out. And they can do a higher accurate classification and assist the doctors in stating that if the particular patient has COVID or not. So these are just two complicated examples in the medical field. This has been used in other places also. For example, this is a very recent use case for generative AI. So if you look at all these pictures, the photos on the left are the pictures of missing children. So how the police use artificial intelligence is they use the photo taken when the child was missing, and they kind of extrapolated their age. They made the picture more aged. And hence, with the new age and the artificially generated photo, they were able to actually find the missing victims. So you can compare it, like the one in the middle is actually the artificially generated images, and then the one on the right is the actual person who was found. So I know it doesn't actually match exactly, but the main facial features are actually matching. So how this is done is basically, again, it all comes to features. They understand how the nose will evolve, the eyes will evolve, the chin will evolve, and they can extrapolate it to generate a picture of reference. So that is basically how artificial intelligence works. So again, like Sir said, we do require data, but we do require a lot of it. For example, just to train a simple classification algorithm to kind of generate handwritten digits, we need like around 10 to 20 GB of data. So you can imagine if you want to do something as complicated as generating images from victims and everything. So that would need a huge amount of data, and that is one factor where artificial intelligence currently is limiting. These are very less amount of data available. So these are the cool things about artificial intelligence. And if you look at the applications of artificial intelligence, it can be applied in finance, law, education, and basically now they're trying to put artificial intelligence into everything. So this curve that you see is basically the Ganter's height curve. So what it says is that every new technology that is introduced, which is disruptive, so currently it's artificial intelligence, initially there'll be an innovation that will kind of heighten our expectations. So that is that initial peak that we see. And that is the current state where everyone is. Then afterwards, like after a lot of artificial intelligence companies and everything come up, about half of them would fail. They would actually understand the reality of this technology, its limitations, and its actual capacity. So then there is a huge drop in the expectations called the drop of delusionment, where people actually realize that, okay, it's not as great as we thought, but it can do a pretty things. Then, after that, people actually try to come into terms of the practicality of the technology, and then it kind of goes to the plateau of productivity where it kind of peaks and kind of goes in that standard convergence. So this is actually how the technology would trend, and right now we are at that extreme peak where everyone is trying to get into this artificial intelligence field. In fact, if you look at the amount of funding received in just 1 year, that is from 2020 to 2021, the amount of money, the amount of investment in AI technology has almost doubled from 40 billion to 80 billion. So, yeah, if you're looking to get into startups and raise easy funding, if you have this AI tag, you can raise easy money. But however, AI also has a very dark side. For example, one very common instance is that we all know that there is like a mental health crisis going on right now, and everyone is having some sort of mental disorder. So, and counseling and therapy is not something everyone has access to. For example, they can be, they can be stigma attached to it, and counseling is expensive. I mean, each session costs like around 1,000 rupees. So, not everyone can afford it. So, what companies are trying to do is they're trying to make artificial intelligence chatbot to kind of assist such people who need counseling at a lower cost or for free. However, even though that sounds good on paper, at times there is like really dark instances. Like I don't know if this is clear, but what this is an actual text message where they were chatting with an AI psychologist. The psychologist actually the patient was on very suicidal and was saying that I tried suiciding using this method, but it didn't actually work out. Then the AI psychologist actually suggested methods on how to make it a success. And I'm sad to say that this is not a one-off thing, and this is a very common thing. This is like a very common occurrence because the AI doesn't know; it's just algorithm and data. It doesn't have a sense of like human beings. Then another thing is obviously we are all part of family WhatsApp groups and everything, so we would obviously come across fake news and fake image generations. So this is also another scary part because right now we don't know what to trust because even the fake news, like for example, the one on the left is Trump being arrested. That looks very real. I honestly couldn't tell if it's real or fake until that fake tag was there on the side. So this kind of is the other side of the coin and the very dark side of the artificial intelligence. So my take on it is that we should not be concerned about the rise of artificial intelligence. Instead, I feel that we should make sure that the human intelligence should not dip, and we should also maintain our human integrity. And by doing so, I feel that as a civilization, we can survive and we'll get through this, and we can use this tool to make this world a better place. So, thank you.
ഡിജിറ്റൽ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി കേരള ട്രിവാൻഡ്രത്ത് നിന്ന്
പ്രിയാസ് കോമർ സാറ് ലീവ് ചെയ്തെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും ചിന്തിക്കാറുണ്ട്, ആർട്ട് ഇപ്പൊ ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ ഇന്റലിജൻസ് നോവൽ എഴുതുന്നു, കവിത എഴുതുന്നു, ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇത് 3D പ്രിന്റിങ് വരുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇനി 3 ഡൈമെൻഷണൽ ആർട്ടും ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ ഇന്റലിജൻസ് ചെയ്യുമായിരിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു എന്താണ് വാട്ട് ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് ടു ഹ്യൂമൻ ക്രിയേറ്റിവിറ്റി എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇത്.
To be honest, sir പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ it is all a game of data. So I don't think artificial intelligence can ever be creative, because that is something because creativity to me means creating something new that has never existed. But AI always depends on the data that is already existing. So it can only copy, it can only make new things that has already been there. It can't create new things, or at least as of now, it can't create new things. So I don't think human creativity can go.
എൻ്റെ ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസിൽ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പം ബ്രെയിനിൻ്റെ ഇമേജിങ് ഭയങ്കര കോംപ്ലിക്കേറ്റഡാ. ഒരുപാട് സ്ലൈസ് എന്ന് പറയും. എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എവിടെയെങ്കിലും പ്രശ്നമുണ്ടോ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവിടെ കൂടുതൽ സ്ലൈസസ് എടുക്കണം എന്നുള്ളത് AI അൽഗോറിതംസ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് ബിക്കംസ് ഈസി ഫോർ ദ റേഡിയോളജിസ്റ്റ്, ലെസ് ടൈം പെർ പേഷ്യൻറ്റ്. എഫിഷ്യൻസി കൂട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടി ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരു വർക്കിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടുണ്ട്. പിന്നെ ഫേസസ്, ഈ ഓട്ടിസം സ്പെക്ട്രം ഡിസോർഡർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കണ്ടീഷനിൽ ഹ്യൂമൻ ഇമോഷൻസ് തിരിച്ചറിയാൻ പറ്റാത്ത ഒരവസ്ഥ. അപ്പോൾ അതിനു വേണ്ടി സ്ക്രീൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി ഫേസസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ, അപ്പം നമ്മുടെ ബയോമെഡിസിനിലുള്ള മുഖങ്ങളെല്ലാം സായിപ്പിന്റെ മദാമയുടെ മുഖങ്ങളാണ് അപ്രൂവ്ഡ് ടൂൾസിൽ. അപ്പം ഇന്ത്യൻ ഫേസസ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ഇന്ത്യൻ വിത്ത് ഒരു കേരള ഇതുള്ളത് AI യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് ഒരുപാട് പിക്ചേഴ്സ് ഇന്റർനെറ്റിൽ നിന്നും നെറ്റ് സ്ക്രാച്ച് ചെയ്തെടുത്തു, വെബിൽ നിന്ന് എടുത്തു. കൂടാണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ അവിടെ കുറെ പേരുടെ ഫോട്ടോ ഒക്കെ എടുത്തിട്ട് നമ്മളെ കൊണ്ട് ചിരിച്ച് സങ്കടമൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്തിട്ട് ഒറിജിനൽ ടൂളും അതിനകത്തുള്ള ഇമോഷൻ ഇന്ത്യൻ ഫേസിൽ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സീരീസ് ഓഫ് ഫേസസ് എടുത്തിട്ട് പിന്നെ നമ്മളത് ഫിസിക്കലി ആക്ച്വലി ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തു. AI ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത ഫേസസ് ആക്ച്വലി ആൾക്കാരോട് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് എക്സ്പ്രഷൻ എന്താണ് എന്നിട്ട് കറക്റ്റായിട്ട് വന്നത് നമ്മളിപ്പം ഫൈനലൈസ് ചെയ്തെടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ നമുക്ക് വന്ന ഫേസസിന്റെ സ്റ്റഡിയിലുള്ള എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് എന്തായിരുന്നു എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് വിമൻസ് ഫേസസിൽ വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൾട്ട് ടു പ്രെഡിക്റ്റ് ദി ഇമോഷൻ. അപ്പോൾ വെസ്റ്റിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് ടൂൾ ഉണ്ട്, അതിങ്ങനെയാണ് ഫീഡ് ചെയ്യണേ, അതനുസരിച്ച് AI ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വരുന്നത് ഇങ്ങനെയാണ്. പക്ഷേ വിമന്റെ ഫേസസിലുള്ള ഇമോഷൻസ്, ഹാപ്പിനെസ് ഈസി ആയിരിക്കും, പക്ഷെ മറ്റു ചില ഇമോഷൻസ് ഭയങ്കര സബ്ജക്റ്റീവാണ്. വി കനോട്ട് റെഡ്യൂസ് ഇറ്റ് ടു സേ ദാറ്റ് ദിസ് എക്സ്പ്രഷൻ ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു ദിസ് എന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പം പിന്നെ യു ഓൾറെഡി മെൻഷൻഡ് അബൌട്ട് മെന്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് സപ്പോർട്ട് ആപ്സ്, വോബോട്ട് ഉണ്ട്, പിന്നെ 7 Cups പറഞ്ഞതിനകത്തൊരു അതിൻ്റെ പേര് ഞാൻ മറന്നു. ദെർ ആർ സോ മെനി ആപ്സ് വിച്ച് അലജഡ്ലി പ്രൊവൈഡ് കമ്പാനിയൻഷിപ്പ് ആൻഡ് മെന്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ ആൻഡ് സപ്പോർട്ട്. പക്ഷേ ഇതെല്ലാം ഒരു വെരി
അപ്പോൾ ഈ AI ബേസിക്കലി ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ലാംഗ്വേജ് മോഡലിൽ നിന്നല്ലേ, അല്ലേ? ലാംഗ്വേജ് അല്ലേ ഇതിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനം. അൽഗോരിതം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ്സ് ബേസിക്കലി സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ.
For example, ഈ മറ്റേ image classification കേസിൽ it is different. However, language ഉണ്ട്. For example, sir ChatGPT ഒക്കെ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ that is a language model. Yes.
അതുപോലെ ബേസിക്കലി നമ്മുടെ ഹ്യൂമൻ ബ്രെയിൻ അല്ലേ ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു നമ്മുടെ ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു മോഡൽ ചെയ്യുന്ന ബ്രെയിനിന് പകരമല്ലേ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ബ്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ.
Yeah, you can think of it as a very simplified model of the brain. Like നമ്മുടെ ബ്രെയിൻ ഭയങ്കര കോംപ്ലിക്കേറ്റഡ് ആണ്, ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് തിങ്സ്. പക്ഷേ ഇത് ഭയങ്കര സിമ്പിൾ ആണ്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചില്ല വാട്ട് ആർ ദ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ദിസ് തിങ്, ആൻഡ് ദർ ആർ എ ഫ്യൂ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ the projector, the table and the chair. So these features are given a higher priority. കാരണം നമ്മൾ ബ്രെയിനിൽ കാണുമ്പോഴും we don't take in the whole room, we just take in the required features. Like if I'm asked to recollect this room, I'll just take the required features as this chair, this projector, people having a discussion. I don't care about, maybe I might not remember about the color of the wall or how many lights were there. So those are not important features. So even our brain has a weighting system to say, okay, this feature is more important, so this should be given more weights. This feature is not important, so it should be given less weights. So this AI models work in the same way. For example, it will say that, okay, this PQRS, TU, those features are important, so only those regions are taken out and considered with higher weights, while the other lines, they are just ignored or considered with lower weights or priorities. So basically adana oru algorithm, it is just built on that to make it more complex.
a little bit of data that I have handled, we have used factor analysis or principal component analysis to reduce the dimension. So when you have large data, we use some dimension reduction analysis to reduce to few things. So like you said, I may have 100 variables, but I reduce it to just 10 variables with which I can use a prediction. But I know that this is a variance-based analysis. So, and certain things are not amenable to and nowadays I think we can even program. I don't need to do the factor analysis or PC. I can ask the AI to do it and just give me the final results. Is there any thinking behind the science of how we are using AI to inform its application? Meaning underlying method that, because earlier we had to think and understand the method and use it, but now the AI is even taking up the method part.
Yes. In fact, this is what I'm currently working on in my job, like how to make AI understand on what to do. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിന് കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് എന്താ പറയുക, നമ്മളെ ഹ്യൂമൻ ബീങ്സിന് പഠിപ്പിക്കാം. വി ക്യാൻ ടേക്ക് എ ക്ലാസ് ആൻഡ് മേ ബി ആസ്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. ലെറ്റ്സ് സേ ഇഫ് യു വോണ്ട് ടു ടീച്ച് എൻ AI to walk, ആദ്യം the AI might fall down and it might come on the floor. So at that point, we kind of give it a punishment, saying that no, what you did is wrong. Then over time, it will slowly, like it will keep falling, but then it might take one step by mistake. So ഒരു കുട്ടി പഠിക്കുന്ന പോലെ, at that point, when it takes that one step by mistake, you will give it a reward. So our reward ആകുമ്പം the AI knows, okay, fine, അപ്പൊക്കെ fail ആയിരുന്നു, but this reward is a good thing. So then it will first do that reward and it will take action such that the rewards will be maximized. So അതൊരു concept ആണ് for making the agent learn. So അങ്ങനെ there are different types of learning concepts that is being currently explored right now. The program, it can be some kind of point, like okay, നേരെ നടന്ന point കൂടും, താഴെ വീണ point കുറയും, and the objective should be maximizing the final point number. Yes, ഇപ്പം there is like, I think there are like for example, ChatGPT le thanne, I don't know if you have used it. Initially, the type of response it was given was very bad. But ippo nokia, it has improved quite significantly. So that is one. ഇല്ല അവര് ആക്ച്വലി പ്രോഗ്രാമേഴ്സിനെ ഹയർ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ ചെയ്യുക. ആക്ച്വലി ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് ഹൗ വി ഡു ഇറ്റ്. ആൻഡ് ദർ ആർ കേസസ് വേർ ലൈക്ക് യു വുഡ് ഹാവ് ഹേർഡ് ഇങ്ങനെ റോബോട്ടിനെ they have made a robot play football in teams in coordination. That is like this. And you would have heard of the case of AlphaGo and IBM Watson. It played a quiz game called Jeopardy. Using this kind of techniques, the robot was actually able to beat humans in performance. പക്ഷേ ഇഷ്യൂ എന്താ വെച്ചാൽ ആദ്യം ഇറ്റ് ടേക്സ് എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് റിസോഴ്സസ് ഫോർ ട്രെയിനിങ്. സോ എല്ലാ ടാസ്കിനും ഇങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇറ്റ് മൈറ്റ് നോട്ട് ബി ദാറ്റ് പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ. ആൻഡ് സെക്കൻഡ്, ലൈക്ക് നമുക്കൊരു ഹ്യൂമൻ ഇൻറ്റ്യൂഷൻ, ഒരു ഹ്യൂമൻ എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു ജുഗാഡോ, നമ്മളൊരു ഹ്യൂമൻ ക്രിയേറ്റിവിറ്റി ഇല്ലേ, അത് ഇതുവരെ AI വന്നിട്ടില്ല. കാരണം ഇറ്റ് ജസ്റ്റ് ഡസ് വാട്ട് ഇറ്റ്സ് ട്രെയിൻ ടു ഡു. ഇംപ്രൂവൈസേഷൻ ഇനിയും വന്നിട്ടില്ല. എക്സാക്ട്ലി.
Thank you for this. Without this AI aspect, our discussion would have been very incomplete. And you said the computers can't do anything new, right? Criticism of. And learning, I doubt it's not like the way behaviorist model you presented through punishment and reward. See, that's the way in which, certain animals learn, for example. But human language learning, which Chomsky proved, it's not through punishment and reward. We don't learn language through that, right? So AI is not learning through punishment and reward. It is learning from data. It decides, supposedly it decides what should be the punishment, but it's not even punishment. And now the computer will, because now what happens is there is not enough data in the world for computers to train themselves.
Yes.
So computers are generating the data. Right?
Yes.
So that's a very big thing. In that sense, there's another representation of this curve is focused on those two peaks. Right? There you say singularity is happening.
Singularity.
Right? Singularity is amazing. As that singularity with a radical difference, right? See, for example, one day it will tip the balance and the real intelligence will be with the computers, but there will be some robots who will think that we are all human beings. Right? So then there will be distinguished between us and them. Now, about Chomsky, I think Chomsky has been totally outdated by ChatGPT. See, he is a Cartesian linguist, right? Who thinks that language learning is analytical, that we come with some deep structures, and any learning means the use of these inbuilt ideas with which we come. But LLMs are based on synthetic learning, right? We don't come with any innate ideas. We just learn from the world, right? And I think Chomsky's anxiety is legitimate. His whole paradigm is now, down. He's a great linguist. He started, we wouldn't have understood analyticity of language before him. But sadly, I think he is just old.
We can't recognize if it's a machine or a human being. One interesting thing is that I am working on LLMs on a daily basis. One thing I've noticed actually is when I was talking to my team, when we normally refer to any electronic object, we say it as, okay, ഇത് എൻ്റെ ഫോണാണ്, or this is my phone. We don't say even എൻ്റെ ഫോണാണ് or he is my phone. No. But yesterday when I was sharing my whatever results I got generated from ChatGPT, my teammates was referring to, okay, ഇത് അവൻ generated ആണോ, like as if it's a human being, which was pretty funny and interesting, to be honest.